All right, folks, it is demo day at Matrix Towers. We've got a whole bunch of stuff to get through. We've got a bumper section on Element X with Benoit and Maro and Doug and Callum talking us through it. Mikhail and Nicholas are going to talk about Permalink's rendering. Anthony and Michael, I think it's Anthony's debut, going to talk about Kiwi, our new test case management software. And Hubert is going to show us the very first demo of encryption and decryption via MLS. Right, let's start at the top. Benoit, are you out there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone. So today, let's start by sharing my screen. I will demo the latest features in Element X. So for those who don't know, Element X is a rewrite of Element Android and a rewrite of Element iOS as well, based on the Rust SDK. And on Android specifically, we are using the Jetpack Compose way to display the UI to the user. So yeah, let's start the demo. So on the right, you will see an Android emulator, which is running Android 12. And on the left, this is Element Web, and I will log in on Element X using the same account. So I will log in. Save. So yeah, so I'm currently working on the push and the notification. So on Android 13, you have to request the permission to the user to be able to display notifications. So yeah, I'm granting the permission here. So here you see the room list. And I will demo the verification of session, which has been done by George. Let's go. So here on the web client, we can see that a prompt is appearing, so I can start the verification. And this is a classical SAS verification. So I check that all the emojis are identical. I can confirm that they are matching. And that's it. The session is verified. The next thing to demo is a room detail screen. So if I click on a room, this is a timeline. And if I click on the title, I can see the new screen. So this is a work in progress. The screen is here, but all the features are not active yet. I can only share the room, which is a matrix to link. And yeah, even live room is not working yet. It's coming soon. Of course, I can send a message. Also, I cannot react from Element X, but I can react on another client, and the reaction should be displayed at some point. Maybe come back to this later. And the last thing I want to demo is a push. So if I send a message from another session and with another user, so here, hopefully I will receive a push on the device. Oh, here we go, with a notification. So for now, we just have a generic notification, but later we will have all the details about the message. And when I click on it, it opens the app. So it's quite basic, but it's working. And as I said, in the future, we will have similar data that we have on Element Android on the notification. So notification with all the details, and we will be able to directly open a room or things like that.
This is the world premiere of an Element X notification being received.
Yes, it's still on a branch on my side, so it's not yet available on develop, but I'm working to tidy up the branch, and hopefully it will be merged soon.
Very exciting.
That's it for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That's really exciting. Mauro would like to speak, but Mauro, you've got the floor.
No, actually, I just wanted to send the clap emote and just press the raise hand instead.
Thank you.
All right, Mauro, what have you got for us on Element X iOS?
Yeah, I'll show it right now. So, hi everyone, as you probably Benoit already pretty much did a very nice introduction of Element X. The only main difference that I can talk about on the iOS version is that instead of using Jetpack Compose, which is a technology that only Android has, this one uses Swift UI, which is pretty much the equivalent for iOS of declarative UI framework, which is pretty cool, very cool, very cool to use, very easy to use, and also very performant. And of course, the iOS version, as you probably some of you already know, it's already out on test flight. The project started before the Android one, so its development is a bit more far ahead. And yeah, some of these features are already in the nightly. Some of these ones that I will show right now will be in the next release, essentially. So what we did, first of all, a very nice, let's say, quality of life improvement that a lot of people requested since a long time on Element. Essentially, the fact that sometimes you get in a very crowded room where a lot of events are being sent, like people joining, people leaving the room, topics getting updated, and it can get a bit messy, a bit crowdy. You can lose track of your messages, mostly also when they come one after another. It's not that great. So we created this very nice layout here called room changes that you can use to pretty much expand or collapse all these events together. So instead of having everything crowded and all these events displayed one after another, you can actually have now the option to collapse and or expand them as you like. Other things that we added are, well, first of all, the option to leave the room. So now it is possible to actually also leave the rooms here on Element X, which is quite cool, but I will not do that right now because I still need this room to be for the demo. And other thing is that we already had this view, the people view, that essentially showed all the people, all the members that are part of this room. But when you were tapping on one of these persons, nothing happened essentially. Right now, instead, we can actually open the user detail view or the room member detail view, which essentially will display the avatar, the name, their metrics ID, also give the option to share the metrics ID, or even block the user. So yeah, this option actually allows you to block the user. As probably some when you block a user on Matrix, essentially what you're doing is just pretty much hiding all their messages, and you will not receive any other messages coming from them. So if I go back, if I block myself here, actually if I block my other account here, and I go back to the timeline gets updated. But as you can see, there is no more messages coming from myself, like from my account, just only ones from Cat. If I go back here, press it again, block the user, and go back, here they are, back again. Another extra thing that we did, which is actually very interesting, it's kind of a thing that I've seen not a lot of clients do, is essentially split the idea of a room, of a group room, from a DM one-on-one room. So if, for example, I go here in this DM chat, which is a one-on-one chat with my personal account, essentially what is going to happen when I click on the room details, instead of opening the real room details, I actually getting this kind of hybrid view where I'm both seeing the informations of the room, like the topic and the fact that this room is encrypted, but at the same time, I'm also getting the informations on the user, the one-on-one users that I'm talking to. And also all the functionalities that are specific to the user, like for example, blocking them, are already available here in this view. So there is no need to, go inside a one-on-one chat, go through the people, and then go back to the user detail of that person to manage them. It's all now collapsed into this nice single view. And that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this.
Very nice. Maro, how do you determine it's a one-on-one chat? Is it just when there's only 2 people in the room. Is that the heuristic
people
you
in the
used, or is there
room.
some other way?
Oh yeah, essentially for now we decided that it's gonna be when the chat is direct, when there are only 2 people in the room, and when the encryption is also enabled. Of course, this is work in progress, so this might be changing in the future. But for now, these 3 criteria are the ones that we're based on for determining when this is actually a DM room.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mara?
Very nice.
All right. Doug, tell us all about Localazy. I've been hearing a lot about it, but I haven't seen it.
Hello. So let me share my screen. That one, can you see it? Yep. So we over on Element X, we wanted to do shared translations. So we wanted the same translations between iOS and Android. And whilst WebLate has served us fairly well with the current apps, we had some extra requirements. We wanted a single set of strings. We wanted to be able to use them in 2 different formats, so one for iOS and one for Android. And we also wanted to be able to have things like create the strings directly within the web interface. And we wanted better handling of iOS plurals, and something that still allowed us to let the community contribute towards our translations. So we tried a bunch of options and landed on Localazy. So this is the Localazy project for Element X. There is a link to it from both Element X iOS and Element X Android repos, so you should be able to find that there, and it's open, so anyone can come and join and help translate. I shall start off just doing a bit of management. So if I manage the English strings, you'll see the base strings that we have here, and I can add some new strings to it. So it's nice and easy to just add a few things. I've got a few to add. And we can add little notes in here. And just one more. Okay, so I've added some strings here. Now that last one, if I search for demo, I shall see all of them here. This last one here is obviously like a really good candidate to be a plural, because in different languages, depending on the number of viewers here, you might change the string slightly. So I can click on here and convert this one to a plural. And now I can have different variations, and depending on which language it is, it'll offer me the different values that make sense for that language. So that's what it looks like to add strings. And one really nice little thing about this is that from the engineering side, we can add the base strings here. But if at any point we want to, like, say, design haven't confirmed a string, we can just give them the link to this string, and then they can come in here, and when they finalized it, they can update it and let us know. So it decouples things from having to be all in code for like the source of truth. So in terms of translating, if I now choose French, I don't really know French very well, so this will be good. I can now come in and translate some of these. So if I click on it, I can obviously type it in manually here. We have a load of machine translation suggestions as well. So those all look the same, so it probably will work for any of them. And one nice thing about this is that if I have a slight mistake in my placeholder, I will be shown that there's an error, and if I try and save it, I'll also be told, please confirm that, which should hopefully help, because on the current apps, we do get times where people use the wrong placeholders, and it can cause things to go wrong. So I can come in here and just save a few translations. I have no idea if they're right or not. And so translating is as simple as that. And if I add a new language, so one other option that we have is that we can choose to pre-translate the whole thing with machine language. So this will now go through. I'll set it going now. I can pick if I want Amazon, Google, or whoever. This will now go through, and it'll be in the background translating everything, but it's a pre-translation. If I click onto it, these strings are all now waiting for review. So when I click on it, I've got a suggestion. Again, I don't speak Italian, so I don't know if this is any good or not, but I can approve it or I can update it to be one of these. And yeah, I can work my way through and actually quickly translate it without actually having to type anything in. So then the last thing to show is that on the project side, we basically have a small configuration file. This one is configured to do Android and iOS. And there's a CLI. So if I run Localazy download, it will download the Italian strings I've just added as a language, and it's got all of the updates I've just done. So you will see the strings that I've just added there in English. And if I go to Italian, you'll see the ones that were machine translated and I've just approved. So yeah, that's Localazy. It's what we're using on Element X. And yeah, if you speak other languages and would like to help us translate, please come join the project, and hopefully we'll get Element X in as many languages as we can. So, thank you.
Very nice. So is the plan to pick a few languages and really focus on quality of those, and then like the long tail, we just do the auto translate, and that just gets us at least somewhere credible?
Yeah, I think so. We have some core languages that we want to do really well. And we have the option, we can have those translated professionally as well and lock those right down. And then, yeah, we can start to open it out to the community to add more and more languages as we see fit.
Very nice. All right. Callum, you're going to walk us through designs for create and join rooms. Callum, is this your first time on Matrix Live?
It is, yes.
It is, right. Welcome. Okay, you've got the floor.
Thank you. So currently on Element, users can create a direct message with either one other person, a direct message with multiple people, a room with one other person, or a room with multiple people. And this can get a little bit confusing. So with Element X, we're trying to simplify this. We're trying to only have two types of communications. Mara mentioned this already, but one will be a direct message only between two people. And then if you want to speak to more than two people, it will be a room. We will, of course, need to still support the creation of rooms between two people if it's configured on another client or web, but we are restricting this option on Element X to discourage the creation of more rooms of this type. So just trying to simplify it, really. And I'm going to demonstrate this via some Figma prototypes. Can you see my Figma screen here? Is that being shared? Okay, great. So on the left, we have an Android user. On the right, we have an iOS user. The Android user is going to be the one who's going to be setting up the DMs and room creations. So this user selects the fab at the bottom right-hand corner, and this is the new screen for this flow. And we have the option from here to create a new room, invite people to Element, or create a DM with some suggestions that have been pre-added. If you select the search bar, we can search for a user, Greg in this case. Select Greg, and this will take you straight to this DM screen. If you type a message and then send that, this will then be sent to Greg. Greg over here will receive that. This is how the invites will be displayed. This will appear here for Greg. If he selects that, then he can see that this user has started a DM with him. Also, if this user wants to create a room with more than one other person, they select the new room button here, and this screen gives them the option to add multiple people, where they can select Greg also, and maybe a different user. Pressing next, this gives them the option to add extra information for this room type. So you can add an avatar photo, the room name, a room topic, and some privacy settings. So for this demo, I'm just going to choose a photo from this person's phone, adding room name, room topic, setting the encryption to private, invite only. I'll then create the room. This creates the room. The user will receive this invite again in their invites list. And then from here, they can choose to action this to accept or decline. And then if this user accepts, they can then communicate via DM, and then this will show in the invites list. That's it from me. Thank you.
Super cool. Those Greg and Jacob look familiar somehow to me.
Yeah, I've seen them somewhere also.
All right. Final live demo, and then I think we call it a day. Mikkel and Nicholas, new permalinks rendering.
Yep. Welcome to a quick demo of permalink rendering. First of all, what is a permalink? It's the thing you get if you click on a room and select copy room link. Or if you go to matrix.to and enter room name or matrix ID, room alias or matrix ID, and create a link, you will get a link, and that's basically a permalink. So what we did is we changed the way that permalinks are displayed in Element. On the left side, you can see the old version before the changes, and I've prepared some examples here, like permalink to a user. So this is a permalink to a user. It's just the URL. And on the right side, you can see the new rendering. It's now a pill, and it displays you the user name and the avatar. There are other cases for permalink rendering. So we can have permalinks to a room, permalinks to a message in a room, permalinks to message in another room, permalinks to an unknown user, to an unknown room, or message in an unknown room. And on the right side, you can see all these cases in a nicely way, like the other room, a message from, so it's a message up here. It's in the same room, so it says message from the user in the room. Or it's a message in the other room, then it says message in other room. If you have a link to a user that you don't know yet, you will see the matrix ID instead of display name and avatar to prevent displaying content that you don't want to see. Same applies to rooms and messages to unknown rooms. It just says message in room or the room ID or alias, depending on what is available. That's it for web. And now over to Nicola for iOS.
Hello, so share my screen. Okay, do you see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I will do the same thing as Michel. So as he explained, we have now 3 types of pills. So you see 2 iOS simulators. The left one is the older version of the application, showing how it was displayed before. And on the right side, you see the new pills rendering. So for a user pill, if it's a known user, so a room member or a user that for which we have the information, we will display the user avatar and its name. And if it's an unknown user, we will display a default icon followed by its matrix ID. It's also work if the permalink is embedded in the Markdown syntax. The only difference is that if it's an unknown user, we won't try to display a pill. Instead, we will keep the Markdown syntax, because perhaps when the user sends the Markdown, he puts some useful information in the link title. So for the room, it's the same thing. We have if it's a known room, so the current one or another one we are aware of, we will display the room avatar followed by the room display name. If it's an unknown room, you see that we have a difference with the web, so we will synchronize. Currently, we display a link icon, sorry, followed by space room because we don't know if it's a space or a room, and it's also work if this is if the permalink contains an alias instead of the room matrix ID. So here we have an alias. For the Markdown syntax, it's the same as for user pill. And finally, for the message pills, we have two different kind of pills, three actually. If it's the message in the current room, we will have the sender's avatar followed by message from and the sender's display name. If it's a message in another room, we will have the room avatar and message in and the room's display name. And if it's an unknown room, we will have a link followed by just a message. And in this case, for permalinks to message, we won't try to pilify a Markdown link. We will keep the Markdown rendering. That's all for me.
Very nice, thank you. And Nicola, I think that's your Matrix Live debut as well. All right, that's your lot then, folks. I hope you enjoyed the demos. Huge thanks to everyone that presented for Matrix Live. That's Benoit, Maro, Doug, Callum, Miko, Nicola, Anthony, Michael, and Hubert on the videos. Yeah, that's your demos.